Today we got Steve Goscinsky from Insistex. Steve, how are you doing this afternoon?
Very good. Very good.
It looks beautiful where you are. You got sun on the window behind you. It's looking great.
Well, today it is. Yesterday was. I flew back from St. Louis.
Oh,
Uh,
geez.
the weather got rainy as I get towards Philly, and then of course it got bumpy, etc. You
Oh,
know.
sure. Oh, sure. So, you guys, Insistex, you're gold sponsors for our November 5th event coming into Syracuse for the New York Pest Management Association. We got some CEU classes and a business forum and a whole bunch of things going on. And we are happy to have you guys. You're going to be up there exhibiting, right?
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah. So, for those, for the very few people that might not know, tell us a little bit about Insistex and what you guys do.
Well, all right. So we are one of the manufacturers, the formulators in the industry. The company's initial product was the termite bait system, the Xterra termite bait system, and of course it grew from that point, and including the manufacture of fumigant sulfurofluoride with our Zythor product. I've been with them now. It's getting close to 20 years.
Holy cow.
Time went quick. I'll tell you what.
And you guys are based down in North Carolina or South Carolina? Where are you guys at?
North Carolina,
Fayetteville,
North Carolina. Mm-hmm.
There you go. Is that where everything ships from? Do you guys ship right out of there?
Yes, yeah, primarily. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Okay, neat. So I was coming up with a few questions for you. One of the things I was wondering for New York Pest Management Association members, what's your best-selling product in New York? What would you say?
Well, that's probably an easy one. The Mac store sell a tremendous amount of that actually, and then I guess followed by the Bythor.
Okay.
And then depending on the account, the other things follow after that, including the light traps, and a lot of it, a lot of the product that I sell is kind of an indication into how what is their primary business.
Sure.
If you have a company that say buys our light traps and others that don't, that's kind of a clue into how much commercial work are they doing, that sort of thing, so.
Yeah, sure. And now, with your work with Insistex, you obviously travel around a lot. Are you visiting PCOs, helping them figure out what they need? What's your work involved?
Yes, yeah. So that's the main thrust of it. I manage a very large region, so that it keeps me moving from one seminar to another, depending on the time of year. Now, obviously, as you're aware, at this point in the calendar, we start moving back into the fall seminars.
Yep. So it's traveling season for you.
Yeah, and then we have the winter seminars coming up, and then by say late March, that's done, and we're kind of on our own.
Yeah. So now every time I turn around, it seems like Insistex has something new happening. There's a new product line. There's a new release. What's is there anything new with Insistex these days?
Well, in fact, one of the you're one of my customers that uses our light traps, and certainly the old Sparrowhawk. The way you've been using them is I'm going to say quite unique and educational at the same.
Yeah.
One of the things in this industry, and I suppose maybe other industries, people would say the same thing, is you always learn a little something new. There's always another trick to get the job done.
Yeah.
And I know that you're used to the Sparrowhawk and the drop ceilings.
Sure.
So anyway, the Sparrowhawk is now LED, and I'm glad to see that, because the LEDs are much more reliable than a fluorescent with a starter. So okay.
Sure. Now, I saw something about Nature Side. Are you guys partnering up? What's happening there?
Yeah, that's actually been several years now.
Yeah, okay.
We that in lieu of coming out with our own 25B.
Okay.
So, Greg his company, the Dominion Pest Control in Lancaster.
Yep.
I've known Greg for many, many years, and then he started with the nature side, and then we decided to partner up with him on that.
Wow, that's pretty neat. So what's the nature of that? Is it an Insistex product by Nature Side, or are you distributing Nature Side products? How's that
No,
work?
it's the let's just call it the original nature side.
Okay. So if somebody wanted to, I was thinking about this the other night. If somebody wanted to, could they work? You have a pretty wide portfolio. Could you work in a PCO could do their entire supplies just with Insistex? Could you go top to bottom?
We could supply most. I'm going to say yes. Most of what he needs, we could work with. Certainly between the liquid chemicals and the rodent products and so on. But there are niche products such as growth regulators. In fact, that's a question I get, fairly often is, hey, you guys have a product similar to Gentrol?
Sure.
Well, other than the fact that our termite bait is a growth regulator, the answer is no.
Gotcha. So yeah, that's the one area you have a sort of a hole in that spot. Okay.
Yeah. Not everybody realizes that we're a manufacturer as opposed to a distributor. I mean, we're a manufacturer and a distributor under one roof. But I mean, I'll have questions like, I can get an order for chemicals, and then somebody might say, "Oh, and by the way, I need a dust stick." Well, no, that's not our product, So
yeah, but if they needed a compressed air sprayer, you got them covered.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, exactly. So
it's funny over the years I've noticed like sometimes just ask Steve and you go, yeah, no, we got that. I'm always surprised.
In fact, what's ironic is, because I don't like hearing this, is just when you think you have everything covered, sometimes a customer might say, "Oh, I didn't know you had that. If I knew that, I would have been buying." It's like,
oh no. Oh gosh. Well, and it's funny on the PCO side, we have the same thing that'll happen. You have a customer you've done rodent control for years, and then you find out they're like, "Oh yeah, I called this other company for yellow jackets this summer," and you're like, "Well, we could help you out with that," and you're like, "Oh no, I had no idea. I thought you just did mice."
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So
it happened. So, do you have a favorite product you like to talk about? Is there like one thing that's near and dear to your heart that you guys carry?
Well, I'm going to fall. I mean, to answer that question, I mean, I could answer that question two different ways. Number one, it depends on what the main market for a pest control company is. So, I mean, for example, I'm one of my New England customers. They would tell you that they built their business on our termite bait system.
Wow.
Okay. That doesn't apply to everybody. I mean, you got some companies that don't do termite baiting, or maybe they're in a geography where there isn't a lot of that to be had.
Sure.
You see. So, but I can say that certainly in your part of New York, based on volume of sales, our Mac store, and the nice thing about the Mac store and the chemical, the pyrethroid, the bifenthrin in general, is it's got a very broad label. I mean, to explain it easily, I've told many customers that if you had to give a technician one product to work with all day long, he's gonna do a termite job in the morning, and then he's gonna do some tick and mosquito work later, and then general perimeter work, and then at night he's gonna go into a food plant. Yet, the Mac store is labeled for all that.
Yeah.
So, but
it's kind of a workhorse sort of product.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. And I understand. Yeah, it doesn't have some of the restrictions that like a Bythor has on its label, being that it has a neonicotinoid. So
Right.
there's some different restrictions with that product.
Hmm.
Yeah. So now you said you cover a pretty big territory. How many reps does Insistex have across the country?
14, 14
Oh
reps.
wow. Okay. Okay.
And a number of them are, in our Zythor, the fumigant group too.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
that's set up so that that's a niche product in a very specific market. So there's a lot. There's the training involved with that, and I can say as somebody who spent many years in fumigation myself,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but
Sure.
mhm.
Neat. Now, the event we're having on November 5th is in-person training. Should be some great technical classes. We have actually a trade show hour at this one where we're going to have attendees can visit just like a trade show and spend more time with the vendors and exhibitors like yourself. So that's, I think, a good thing for sure. Is there a reason why people do you have an argument for why people should go to an in-person event versus just say there's a lot of people doing all their credits just online?
Well, when you go to an in-person event, certainly, you'll have a number of manufacturers right there, and you can speak with them, and there's always something to learn. I think that when you're together like that, you can always share information.
Yeah.
Whether you're sharing information with your competition, for that, or
Yep.
A manufacturer's rep, or even for myself, for the number of years I've been in the industry, there's always something to learn. There's always something new,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. And how long is that in the industry for you, Steve? I don't want to call you out here, but how long have you been doing this?
so I started as a technician, started out as a summer job, and it ended up becoming a career. I started as a technician in a Quaker Oats cookie plant
Okay.
in 1969.
No. Oh, there you go. So I was negative 10 years old then.
Um,
I was 10 years from being born, or 9 years from being born.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. So you didn't expect that you were going to stay in it this long, did you?
Well, see, my degrees in food technology, food science, and chemistry, and I kind of geared myself at that point towards continuing in the area of food safety.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, so I worked in on the, but before I joined Western in 1988. I was working in for food manufacturers.
Sure.
Quaker for a couple of years, and then Unilever, which is Lipton Tea and Good Humor ice cream and all those brands. So I was on their food safety team for a decade, and then Martin Brower, which is McDonald's distribution and manufacturing arm, about a decade there, and then in the late 80s. So we're going through the 70s and 80s, late 80s, jumped on board with Western. I came on, I was familiar with fumigation, and licensed as such, and licensed in multiple states. So that got me the job at that point pretty easily, So I was with them for 5 years. It was actually 93 when I jumped on the manufacturing side of this industry.
Okay. Interesting.
So,
Okay.
but, certainly my background made it easy.
Yeah. Sure.
Sure.
Sure. Now, over that time, sometimes people will talk about, the old days. Oh, we had all these better chemicals. We had this and whatever. Is that actually true from your point of view? Are we in a time now where we have the best chemicals we've ever had? Are we in a time where, geez, we really had things easier in the past? What's your
Well,
take?
I mean, that's an interesting question. And in fact, one of my, I have a presentation, it's actually a 2-hour presentation on pesticides, past and present.
Mm.
I mean, there were some products that we had that were very valuable. Vapona being one of them. In the food plants, we would use we use a 3610, synergized pyrethrin at 3610 with Vapona.
Mm.
We took no prisoners.
Not
Okay?
messing around. Yeah.
Right. And they were valuable compounds. Now, looking back through the 80s, 70s, and actually even back into the 70s, I know that we had, but when it seems like we've always had a pyrethrin shortage and the prices have always been high. Okay, I mean, because everybody now will say, "Oh, pyrethrin, it's high and it's hard to get, and it seems to be well." That was always the case,
Right?
I can go back to the mid '70s and it was the same thing, and that saw a lot of development of pyrethroids, product like resmethrin, and when I couldn't get a synergized like a 3610 for farm purposes, we would rely on the alethrin products. Products like, for example, D-transalethrin. And by the way, I mentioned this to others, and I've had some guys say, well, that's a new one on me. Well, it didn't work very well, quite frankly. So,
Right.
so with evolution of the pyrethroids, in my opinion, we've seen some dogs, some that have come and gone. Resmethrin was developed in the 70s into the 80s, and that it had that, everybody said it had that familiar cat piss smell to it. In fact, here's an interesting story in that regard. When I was with Western, of course, most of my work was with the food processing industry, especially in particular if there was fumigation involved. And we had to do some work in the beech nut plant not far from you, and in the Syracuse area. I forget.
Yeah, it's out near Herkimer. Yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be. It's not there anymore, but yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yes. And so I went in there to give them a quote on some fumigation work. And the moment I came through that door, I said, "You're using resmethrin in this plant?" And he says, "Yes, we are." You could, Yeah. I mean, I knew what it smelled like, then not that anybody else would, necessarily, but. Yeah. But you mean, so that's kind of come and gone, and products like bifenthrin have taken its place.
Sure.
And if we're talking about evolution in chemistry, I think bifenthrin that's one of the best. But you have other products like permethrin, which found its way into homeowner and animal use, and so on.
Pretty much everything.
Yes,
they have it in clothes now. They have it in everything now.
But if you look at some of the other products that have been developed, certainly, I mean, back in the day when I started, when I was a young guy in this business, my 20s and 30s, I mean, we didn't have the baits, the roach and ant baits that we do now, and so sometimes when you're faced with a situation, you kind of get to work and come up with innovations to get you out of a jam, and I think our industry has done that.
Yeah. Now, for let's say the average PCO that's not a chemist, How would you suggest that they sort of try out and evaluate new products, and what kind of metrics might they use to kind of keep advancing as new products come on the market, new chemistries and things like that? It can be tough. You want to hold on to what you know works and what you've always done, but you also don't want to,
Well,
stagnate.
old habits die hard.
You know it.
Um, I've got some customers, not to name names, okay, that I know will go to seminars or go to the Purdue conference, listen to all the new technology, the innovations, and come out and do the same old thing again.
Yeah.
Now that can be okay if they're buying our Mac store or something.
Yeah, you don't mind, right?
But you got to. I don't know how else to answer that question except that you kind of have to get out of the box. You got to climb out of the box that you put yourself in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, you might want somebody if somebody wants to take baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you have a technician that is particularly good. To have him do an evaluation. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if this isn't exactly the same thing, but I mean, for example, even with our equipment,
Yeah.
ours or anybody else's, we have our bait gun, which your company has bought, and when I'm at the seminars, and I'll be showing them again at the seminar in November. I mean, I've had some. I had one fellow, a technician. He was like a lead technician. Took note of the bait gun, and he brought his boss over, and he says, "Okay, he's my lead guy. I'm going to buy one gun, and he's going to use it." So that's one way to do it, you see.
Sure.
And
Sure.
then a month later, he says, "If we like what we see, I'll let you know." A month later, he bought 12 bait guns. So
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, that's probably the best way to start.
Yeah. So sort of like pilot program. You
Yeah.
start with a small controlled amount, try that out, see how it goes, move from there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's not a bad way to go.
Mm.
So Steve, if people want to get a hold of you before November 5th or after or whatever, how can they go about and do that?
Well, I mean, I can give you my phone number and whatever, and then certainly by email.
Yeah, what's your email?
S. Goscinsky at Ensystex, ENSYSTEX.com.
Steve, we look forward to seeing you up here on November 5th. And if anybody's looking for help, Steve's a great guy to talk to. So thanks for joining us today, Steve.
Okay, thank you.